very good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the ESL Pro League. It is Season 5, and we are into our second week, second day. This time I'm back in the hosting seat, and of course, Matt is back over alongside Henry G, where he belongs. I'm joined by Chad Birchall, which is exactly where I belong. Good to see you back with us, Mr. Sponjay.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's good to have you here, and pretty in pink as well today.
My collar's not sitting right.
Yeah, and I'm wearing a jacket that I found in a scrap heap. Either way, it's good to have you back. Now, we are joining you at a slightly later time, and you're probably sitting there going, why on earth is that? It has been announced on various platforms, but we'll do so here as well. Chad, some players had an unexpected extra day in Vegas.
Yeah, well, British Airlines are a really good airline, and
you watch your tongue.
Their plane wasn't able to take off. So there were numerous players from different teams who weren't able to get home when they were meant to. Bit of delays, so ESL has been kind enough to allow them to have that time off.
Yeah, it does sound rather crazy to imagine them just sitting down and immediately starting to play. But either way, we can move on to how things are looking currently in this very league. We can bring up those standings to set the scene for how this league has shaped up so far. It is just our second week, but already some teams are doing spectacular work, both in North America and in Europe. Here you see two undefeated presences, at least at the top of the table. It's SK and Optic. Cloud9 hold a similar feat, however, in the center of the pack with just 2 games played. What stands out to you, Chad?
Well, it's more expected when we juxtapose the two leagues here. SK and Optic towards the top of the pack. We got Liquid obviously up there as well. Cloud9 in the middle of the mix. Rush down the bottom. A bit sad for Renegades and Winterfox, however.
Yeah, hasn't been a great start for the Aussies, for sure. A couple of good wins for Misfits. We'll keep our eyes on them as the league does progress. But you're right. The juxtaposition is that you bring up the European table and you have Envious on top. Of course, a team that we thought maybe had the worst trade of the two in that French shuffle. Mouse Sports, Kingwin, and then LDLC chasing the rear as well. Yeah. There are some surprising numbers of losses next to some of the bigger names. Astralis down 2-2, VP in the same.
You wouldn't be mistaken if you thought this was currently upside down, would you?
No, not at all.
So the more games you play, obviously, the higher you're going to be on the ladder so far. So some teams haven't played as many matches as others. Got some teams who are in the mix there. But a good, strong start from Envy, which has surprised me. I didn't expect them to come out like this, but Scream and Happy have been able to consistently frag, and I think that's why they're at the point they're at right now. Things are going to get really interesting for Mouse, though, as they move into the new transition period, bringing Chris J and Nico moving on to greener pastures with FaZe.
Yeah, well, keep your eyes on FaZe Clan in general. I'm sure they're going to have a great time. But this is, of course, some of the stuff we witnessed. It was Yuggy yesterday who was having a spectacular performance, a 1 versus 3 on Cobble, and that wasn't the only thing. We got to see some magic on Overpass as well. Alex was dropping mad numbers. In fact, dropping around 30 frags over here on Cobblestone. Spectacular work from him. And of course, Hellraiser's Envious did go down as well. Getting to see Envy putting in a pretty solid showing. It was quite intriguing to me to see that, you know, Envious do have a lot of firepower. Yes, the series was split. Hellraisers did perform well on Cobblestone to no surprise, but you know, Envy, they are no slouch.
Yeah, but the style of Counter-Strike that they're adopting works for a newer team because they're just basically pack rolling, doing the 4-1 type stuff. Not too many executes and things like that that require a lot of work early on. So they're addressing it in the right way. And then we've got G2 Fnatic, who are 2 teams who are probably going to have a very similar playstyle going into tonight.
Absolutely, yes, indeed. This is going to be our big game today. It is Fnatic G2. We have Cobblestone and Train to dissect. So given the aforementioned playstyle, it could get very messy. You were talking of Envy. We'll just pull on that thread for a little longer. The fact that Scream did sign his contract today, I saw him tweet out. So he's changed his Twitter tag and he has joined Envy in an official capacity.
Yeah, I believe everybody from the team went to the UK to, I don't know if to sign their contracts. I don't know if all of them inside their contracts.
I mean, they're at a HyperX boot camp or something.
So it's probably a good way to kickstart a team, right? You want to have an environment like that so you can actually get to learn about the new players, get a bit of chemistry going on and that kind of stuff. But Scream's the man to watch in that team. If he can continue the form that we've seen from him in Pro League so far and take it to LAN as well, he's dangerous.
Yeah, you know someone else is dangerous is, well, not this Australian, but the other. Mitch is standing by to go ahead and break down some of the gossip and news that's been going on in the Counter-Strike world so far, I believe.
Here, you may have noticed that tonight we didn't actually cover all the matches we initially intended to, and that was because of a bit of a delay in some of the teams getting home from DreamHack Masters in Las Vegas. Specifically in Navi's case, that meant that they wouldn't be arriving home until 7 p.m. this evening, and we thought it better to give them a little bit more time to prepare for their matches. North, however, seem to enjoy their arrival home, and we'll be seeing a little bit more from them over the next couple of days. But if you guys at home think that you could replace any of these teams in the ESL Pro League, you have a chance. The Mountain Dew League is giving teams an opportunity to directly enter into the ESL Pro League. And to find out all the details on that, you can head over to esea.net/MDL for all the info. Now, in the wake of DreamHack Masters Las Vegas, we wanted to take a little bit of a fun look back at what's been happening in the DreamHack scene recently. So let's have a bit of a throwback to DreamHack Winter not so long ago.
Gambit probably just going to rush B at this point, finish this one off nice and early. And you know what? Naf's not going down without a fight.
Oh, Tarek's not either. He's jumping up. Shotgun comes through, Mag 7 shot into the face of Hobbit. His second one to Mo, but he has to go for the reload. The flash comes through. The flash saves him. That is awkward, but I love it.
Is rotated down, however, so he should be in position to back up Cbble, who's spotting on the site itself. Cajun finds the first kill. That bomb is dropped in the open now, but the smoke is going to allow for Flipside to start and work their way out. Electronic dropping to Cajun, and Cajun is just dominating this B site right now. Somebody needs to shut this guy down, but he reigns supreme. Another kill for him. That's 3 now in the round.
Both Flipside members are exceptionally low. Markov had 11, Blade has 1, and he's all left. The flip side, and Cble's gonna pick up the ace.
Stack up over toward B. 2 out toward. Oh, automatic!
What?
I was gonna say out toward Catwalk, and automatic finds it third! Waiting it, timing it, but better shot from Mixwell. Pistol is successful, but they don't account for the fact that it's Ren also behind this smoke, and he finds 3 immediately. Bombs drop down on top of the site. A bit to work with, but they've got to rely on Naf to get in a better position. He gets caught off at Dren with an ace to hold out the site against the Pistols. Crossfire set, smoke off will change things slightly, but surely he's going to go through. Ricky, lovely shot to find Mezina. Now they can turn back these Pistols and try and give Furlan the attention he deserves, but there's so many smokes out. He won't even get far enough, fast enough to catch them off before they're in the doors, and Ricky turns back again.
Time is still in favor of the CTs. The flash is coming. It's pretty much a final chance for Ricky. He's looking for the ace now. 4 kills found, and there it is.
Wow.
What a performance. 4 P250s and an AWP. He finds all 5.
Crazy there, just to end on Ricky performing and actually seeing him removed from the Renegades in place for, well, currently, Atta. It was an intriguing removal, that's for certain, and you highlighted already their position on the standings isn't particularly fruitful in the North American Pro League.
Yeah, well, they were doing better with Rick. They'd obviously played the first few games with him, but obviously there's issues there, and they've felt the need to drop him from the roster. So interesting to see how they go forward, or if they stick with Atta, what's going to happen with them.
It is a bit of an odd one, but yeah, you see a lot of teams heading back from Vegas, and that is, of course, why we have the great pleasure of bringing you Fnatic versus G2. This is from Flusher himself. He says, impossible to play without the mentality we had and this little practice. Now, what do you say about this one, Chad? That without the mentality we had?
I think that could be a case of English second language, which we do see a lot in these
Yeah,
streets.
of course.
But the little practice I can understand. They've only been back together for a short period of time. You can't just expect to put a roster like this together again and for all the pieces to fall back where they were, especially with the way that the meta of the game has changed. It's not just able to run around and headshot anymore. You have to have a semblance of structure. It doesn't have to be huge. They can get away with having a very loose one, but it's going to take time for them to build that, and I think they're realizing that. And
in reference to G2, we did tune in with Simple. He had some strong words to say. I mean, there has been a lot of kind of banter surrounding G2 and this super team tag, but who called them a super team? He's throwing that one out towards the French roster.
That is a good question. And I think that's the community, and we'll call the community fake news, or really fake news.
Alternative facts, for sure.
Matt put it very well. He said that they're more of a dream team than a super team. A super team, you know, they actually need to put together a lot of wins and show that they're a dominant force. So I think that's a very good way to put it.
Yes, and someone within G2 is celebrating a birthday. None other than Dan himself. Apex getting some congratulations from his various teammates. I think you can even see Sixer is throwing one towards his ex-teammate as well. So you got Apex hopefully going to try and get a little late bit of birthday gift.
24 now.
24 years of age.
That is officially in the bracket of mid-20s.
1, 2, 3, 4, 91.
Parlez-vous français?
On peut. That's 24 years, I think.
Oh.
91. There you go.
Nice.
I'm amazing. French aside, and we can actually talk about the people that can speak French, and that's, of course, G2. Now, I think the term Dream Team just summarizes them perfectly, Chad. Like, I mean, if you were any sort of Counter-Strike fan, there has always been this kind of like desperation to, one, it sounds horrible, remove Smiths and Shocks from the hip. They wanted to see Shocks with the likes of Kenny Yes, and I mean, seeing them together now with Apex, it feels like they've got all the ingredients for real success here. NBK, who has been probably one of the most successful French Counter-Strike players of all time, and then you can combine that with none other than Mr. Body, who has proven his worth in his period stint with G2.
I think Body's the one that is the most interesting here, because a lot of people would have expected them to pick up Scream, you know, and then this would be the dream team that everybody would think on paper. But yeah, you're right about Body. He is a younger player. He's obviously a bit keener, and they're going to have him more as a role player or a support player who they can mold and put in whatever places they need. I don't know if it's true. I think it was a translation. I was reading something on Reddit. Shox did an interview, And he was saying the reason that they went with Body over Scream is that Scream is a player who they think can only play the one play style, where they want to have people who can be more diverse, and that way they can change it up if they need to. But this team, like you said, is a dream team, definitely on paper. The idea of having Kenny S and Shox paired together, the two most dominant French players we've seen in CSGO, is huge.
We get an opportunity just to see some of the plays that were made as well by Fnatic. This was Dennis getting all three on the flank through. Of course, a map that's no longer in the pool. This was just the first week of Pro League where you did have access to Dust 2. Now we're back into Inferno, and look at that spray. That's impressive stuff. The map we're going to be going into is Cobblestone. But, I mean, we've seen these teams meet before. This was, of course, a while back. You can see this is the old G2 roster, the likes of, well, what is it now? That's Scream, Smiths, the whole shebang. This is just a little kind of glimpse at how some of the previous rosters did perform in the last season of Pro League. Do excuse me, I think I got a little confused there. Time does fly. I felt like that Dennis play was just the other day on Dust 2, but it can't have been. That was back when Wenton. When did he end up in the whole Swedish shuffle? He's kind of watching from the sidelines at the moment.
Yeah, I think he maybe he'll end up in the new Cbble team with Makalele. Well, they need an in-game leader, right? And if he's willing to take that role, but who knows what can happen? I think they've only announced 3 of their players: Rubino, Jacob, and Makalele. I think Fox went to Penta. Well, I think Jacob.
And I do think that's a really weird one. While we're having a general community discussion, Fox joining Penta very quickly, like it's like locked in.
I didn't see it anywhere, but someone told me that, so I'm taking that as gospel.
You should. I mean, he's currently in their roster and all of their, like I think at ESEA, and to be fair, it could be a trial.
That's true.
It could be a trial.
Anything's possible.
I mean, I just was really kind of, I don't know, converted. I think a lot of people were with his performance in Atlanta. Seeing Fox kind of playing with SK, having a proper structured team around him, he was speaking his native tongue. And he looked good. He looked much better.
People forget how good Fox was when he was on Kick and stuff like that. Like he was the most dominant player in that team. I remember practicing them on Dust 2 when we were over in Europe from time to time, and just versing him on Dust 2, would always get the tag, crossing the doors. He was quite a successful or impactful AWPer.
Yeah.
I just think over time. Maybe people have either put him on a pedestal that's maybe too high for him, or the expectations are too high. But I think he's a solid player.
He is certainly a solid player, and there is an abundance of solid players coming into this matchup. Fnatic versus G2, both teams have really stated that they need to do better. They've made a lot of roster moves, and therefore coming into this one, you've got 2 teams that are not where they want to be, and they're going against each other in 2 best-of-1s. Cobble is our first map, and this is where I'm going to be talking to you, Chad, just a little bit about how you think Cobble's going to go when you have 2 very pug-style gamers. Little structure found on Fnatic over in Vegas, and G2, they've fallen into a similar fate as of late.
Yeah, both teams, as you just stated, need a little bit more time. And it's weird having a matchup between the 2 teams who are both in a rebuilding phase. So if you remember Fnatic, they were the type of unit that used to basically send their players off on little missions on their own, and they could do whatever they felt, and they would open up the map, and they could capitalize on that because they had good chemistry and they had good understanding of what they could do. An example of that would be Olaf on the B platform. That's one of the places that became, people call it the Olaf smoke, where it's thrown at Broken Wall and then he goes for picks there. That kind of stuff has been picked up by all the different teams and used, but because of that, it starts to get counted and it becomes the common play. And when people have moves that are so successful like that, it just becomes the norm to know how to play against it. So that kind of stuff has definitely dropped off. And to make that more versatile, I believe Fnatic, they kind of went before they changed roster the first time, trying to transition Flusher over to doing similar things because people have different timings or pacings in the way that they attack it. So in this matchup, it's going to be interesting to see if the teams just go to what they're comfortable with. So it used to be, I believe, Apex and Kenny over towards that A-bomb side. If they're going to do things that they were doing previously, or if they're going to mix it up, which I think is more dangerous because you don't know what to expect in that case, which would be nice.
It certainly would be. Something that isn't nice is Fnatic and their recent result over in Vegas. In an offline environment, they did meet Virtus Pro, admittedly the winners of the tournament, but they conceded a 16-2 defeat on this very map. It was abysmal from them. They managed to get together 2 rounds. Those 2 rounds came on the T side, and it really was an absolute slaughter. Virtus Pro holding a spectacular 13-round CT side, and that was pretty much the beginning of the end after VP did win that pistol. So coming off of that, that was pretty much the last game they played ahead of this one. So it's going to be intriguing to see if they've kind of maybe learned some from their mistakes. I did like in the tweet as well, typical us losing to the winners of the tournament. I'm sure that's a lot of teams sometimes feel like that as you get knocked through the group stage.
Yeah, well,
it's a mindset to have.
I guess it's one way to spin a positive, right? I walked past these guys as they were playing Cobble during the end of that match, really. And
Yeah.
they were very quiet. The only communication was through typing. So that must be the mentality that Flusher was talking about. It doesn't seem like they have, or they're at the point of other teams when even when they're losing, even when they're down, they keep the fist bumps up, you know, they keep the talk up, which are two very integral things. When you come from a team that is used to winning all the time, or a lineup that's used to being very successful, and to go to losing after that, it's very difficult to make that adjustment, right?
Absolutely.
It depends. This is where we're going to see how hungry they actually are and how willing to evolve they are. Because if they're just going to bang their head against a brick wall for, I don't know, the first couple of months and hope that their old play style worked, they might find themselves getting very frustrated.
Yes, indeed. And I mean, I'm currently looking at their lineups head to head, and it does look absurd, but it does look like since basically February of 2016, admittedly there have been different rosters, but Fnatic have won and beaten the French side every single time they've met.
Yeah.
Recently, with the same rosters that we are going to be seeing today, they actually met in the IEM Katowice qualifiers, those EU closed qualifiers whereby we saw Fnatic win both maps rather convincingly. I think it was 16-6 to 16-12 as well on cash. So with that said, Fnatic have a better track record versus this French side. And in general, this French side have had an awful start. I mean, we're looking at the G2's recent results, Chad. It is rather abysmal, is it not?
Yeah, I think the level of expectations for this team is huge, right? And to see them go up against other top teams and lose, like a 16-6 online on train, it's obviously one of those maps that you can get blown out on, but it's not what they'd be looking for. And this would be a great point for them to be able to turn it around. I don't know what events these guys have coming up. They're definitely not in Poland. Not sure what else has been locked in or announced for these guys in the future, but this is what they need to be hungry for right now. They don't have a lot else on their plate, so a lot of time can go into practicing for this unit. And I think both of these teams in this matchup we're going to see good things from in 2017. It's just a transitional period for them to get back into it and evolve, right? I'm really excited for this year because even though these teams aren't performing fantastically right now, they all have great players and they all are hungry to win, right? That's the type of Counter-Strike players there are.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, if you look at their current results, they're not necessarily anything to be snobbed at. I mean, you've got close losses versus Envy. In fact, we got to witness them. They were over in the Pro League. We saw them in our first week. Close losses versus Heroic from G2. I think we're looking at like 16-13, some scores. It's been pretty, like, unfortunate losses. In fact, they very much, other than the Fnatic result, they actually went and got 2 good wins versus Flipside. So it shows that they can at least do some damage, some degree of damage.
What I think is really exciting about this specific matchup is how much of a brawl it can turn out to be, because both teams aren't really going to want to give an edge, right? They're the teams who are going to force by, they're going to back their aim, they're going to back their individualism, which is a really strong thing to have, because if you can win that tug of war and you can come out on top of the economy, you can find yourself in a really strong position in dictating the play. The only thing which will let, I think, both of them down is potentially the lack of executes, right? Because you do need to be able to use that from time to time. And it's just one of those things which you have to have in your gameplay nowadays.
Yeah.
I find that I'm being very critical of them, but if you look at the top teams at the moment of SK, Astralis, North, Virtus Pro, they all have a very good mix of pacings, executes. They have the individual skill to pull off very, I guess, crazy plays, the stuff that gets the caster screaming. So you need a bit of everything.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we've seen that. I think it's a really intriguing kind of observation to make that at the top of Counter-Strike now, you haven't got any real examples of the style that these guys are implementing.
Yeah, maybe they want to change that.
It does. There's a correlation to be identified here. But are they capable? If you look in towards Fnatic, most definitely have, I mean, a respected coach, and I say respected because the players themselves state that they respect him and they chose him. I know that it was brought into question over in Vegas, but they've got some form of leadership, and I'm hoping to see that kind of evolve as Jumpy, even Flusher, who's taken a step. We saw some successful in-game leading from him during that one transitional period without Pronax. Okay, it's time to call a prediction for Cbble. What are you saying, Chad?
I don't think it bodes well that Fnatic got absolutely stomped on this map by VP on LAN.
16-3.
I'm going to lead towards G2 because the French have traditionally been quite good on Cbble, and they have a very good passive style that they can play. And I think they're maybe going to be a little bit hungrier right now.
Okay, I'll leave you with that one. I think I'll join you on the G2 side of things. Well, there is no doubt that this server is chock-a-block full of Counter-Strike star names, and our caster desk is no different. Henry G and Sadakist are waiting to jump into Cbble.
Yes, thank you, Alex. I think we are jumped in. We are in the server, and we are standing by to get ready to roll. Cobblestone waits. I think it's
I think it's a good map for these two. They mentioned it. Olaf going B platforms known, but this G2 lineup, this is the first time I'll get to cast them in the flesh.
Sure.
We know that Shox loves it. Cobblestone, that is.
Absolutely.
Probably
Both
loves
these
this team
teams have
too.
been pretty underwhelming so far. We've seen G2 a couple of times, maybe only once in the Pro League so far, but they looked pretty poor against Envious, but obviously that's one of their first showings. It's going to take a while for this team to kind of build their foundations up and work out how they're going to operate as a
You
unit
could
going
argue
forward.
the same from Envious in that game. Scream just ripped them apart.
Yeah, true. That would, yeah, to be fair, that was a bit of an anomaly that game,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Like, he's never going to play like that every single time, and there's not a consistent basis for it. But Fnatic, obviously, on this map was stomped by VP in DreamHack. It was 16-2, I believe, as well. That
They're
wasn't a great
ranked
start.
12th. That's almost like turd if you're rated 12th with RD on it.
Yeah, it's true. Maybe that's what they're going with. But yeah, it's so difficult to call this one. I would say I would be leaning towards G2 basically because they've had like a bit of time now. They went obviously at DreamHack, so they've been practicing, working things out, getting things together. And yeah, I'm hoping we can see a performance from Kenny S. He looked very poor in the first showing with this team. Hoping he can kind of step up. But it's known to be an up and down map for him overall. But of course, Shoxy on the server, anything can happen, and that's why I kind of push my bets towards them. Fnatic, I'm not really sure they've had that much time since Vegas to even. They would have got back, what, maybe yesterday? You wouldn't have been practicing then. So it's
I
not
doubt
like,
they would have,
It's
yeah.
not like you've had a chance to adjust anything. So
Yeah, it's definitely going to take them time. I agree with Taz's compliments as well at the major, saying that there's no chance their old style wins them as much as it used to, or is even remotely close to successful. I think teams have stepped up considerably in that time. The meta hasn't shifted in trying to match Fnatic. A lot of people were trying to scramble to get on their level. Now they've all surpassed that. They've all started moving into tactical bases, and Fnatic is behind in that regard.
yeah, well, they have got Jumpy working with them as well.
They do. And Vugo still helps sometimes.
You'd think that it doesn't really seem like his influence has really been kind of realized at this point. You'd think he'd be bringing more of a tactical element to the team. I think everyone knows this is the main criticism we have of them, that playstyle's not going to work anymore, but I'm hoping it does, right? On paper, they still have an amazing lineup, and to be fair to them, they've only really got back together in the last couple of months, so you can't really hold too much against them for now. It's going to be a work in progress, and Fnatic obviously have a lot of confidence in this team and hoping they can relinquish the former glory. But we are into this one. It's going to be Fnatic starting on the T side here, 4 sets of armor, and Crims, he's got the smoke and 2 flashbangs, no upgraded pistols here, just the Glocks across the board. And then in terms of the G2 side, quite a traditional French setup. 5 sets of armor, really kicking straight into it though, but Shoxy towards long A takes down Dennis. A really nice headshot to kick things off there, and he'll be falling back. His job is complete. He's got that first kill, he's spotted a couple more players, and then we can keep it as 5-4 advantage.
Olaf trying to spot down toward long. NBK that awaits. He's got the USP in hand, but there's no one on the receiving end as he re-peeks, though. He's tagged to 6. And the natural born killer will have to be naturally born defending, because he's got to run back inside of the site. It's interesting to see MBK Shox and Kenny on the same lineup. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think, as this develops. As Apex tagged off, has to back away through stables. He'll go toward the A platform. JW's already down drop. So Kenny has to start to pinch them in, hold them off. He can't push through without any information. He'll go now. They've got confirmation. It's to the A site. Look at Shox go. 1 kill on Olaf. He stands in behind the APC. The last 2 remaining Fnatic players held out top of the half wall and completely locked in position because all of the rotations have made it in place. It's Crims the next one up. Kenny's killed his teammate, and this should spell disaster in the end of the round. There it is. Shox getting his second. Third. I take it back. Third.
It's always so beautiful to watch Shoxy hitting every single thing on the server with the USP as well. Goes towards long A at the start, opens things up, falls back, and manages to pick up 3 in total. Looking very strong. We do have a slight technical pause here, and I'm sure we'll be underway very shortly. In terms of the rebuy coming back from Fnatic, they are going to be forcing into the round. That's fine on the T side. No bomb plant, automatically means to begin. That's Tech 9's armor. Flush has got a smoke as well. And in terms of the GT buy, this is what we're seeing a lot more of recently. Everyone focusing more on the UMPs rather than getting like 2 rifles and MP7s and stuff like that. But Shoxy yet to buy. Maybe he'll bring out an M4 considering he got 3 kills. But we'll just be bringing up the little holding image here as it's an online game. We can't really give too much away, but there it is.
No, I like this. Why would you give anything away?
Exactly.
Don't tell me Santa Claus isn't real and ruin Christmas.
Well, we're back into it, and like I said, 5 SMGs means it's going to be a little bit harder to hold off at long-range angles. Have to commit a little bit more towards B site, maybe towards drop-down and the upper platform itself. This looks like a set piece towards B. You can see the smoke's starting to rain in towards the site here. Objective, try and get that bomb down. See if that's going to be a possibility. They're not fully committing just yet. Olaf Meister takes a nade to the face, though, and goes down to 66 HP.
Olaf with Tech 9, flashed over, back in. Smoke just protruding beyond the edge of the platform, and the statue means they can't quite see him from between both KFC and the statue itself now as he solves. He's going to be completely in the open. It's MBK to get the kill on him. Meanwhile, Dennis with the Deagle. Let's try to get the next kill. Tag on body. Flames in behind. He's forced out of position. I guess it's just a whip. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that was going to hit. I was surprised it took as long as it did, but Apex to find flush up. And the numbers continue to dwindle for Fnatic. Crims gets one gun down and available to him, but his teammate dead at the door means he's not much more.
Got a wallbang from Shox to finish things off there towards the stable area. They keep 4 players alive. Fnatic inflicted a decent amount of damage, but overall, no plant coming in and only 1 kill, so has to be a full eco going into round number 3. Glocks across the board. Maybe Crims could pull out PT50. That's about it. B-Rush, maybe. Hope for the best. Options are very limited. It's almost not even worth sitting around and working out what you can find on the map. We'll see what they decide to do. Bishoxi, he's having some money here. That could be working against him. It certainly is. He goes down first, and there it is. Flush with the Glock opens things up, but it's quickly replied by Apex, and it should be round. Obviously still going in favor of G2. Kenny might not check his angle. Of course he does.
Ooh, get wrecked, Olaf.
Yeah.
He does certainly check it. Apex, meanwhile, I need to go out. Has to be careful of his position. It's Dennis that finds the kill. Kenny finding therefore Dennis. Crims now last alive. Not a lot of kills from Fnatic to start things off early. These rounds have been quite heavily in the favor. I mean, yes, I know they don't have guns, but even still, they aren't forcing reinvestment. They've been quite heavily in favor of G2. So it's 8 grand, I think, almost for Kenny. Yeah, he's got 78.50. That's pretty not too bad. Pretty not too bad. There's a new one, Henry. I'm not even going to correct it. I like it. I'm going with it.
You're still recovering.
Nope.
No.
Pretty not too bad.
That's what you're saying.
How are you today? Pretty not too bad.
Look at the buy, though, for GT. This is almost Jaden rounds. We almost got there. 5 SMGs
wow,
required.
Look at you going there.
Yeah. Almost got there. But
she went through her first car wash today. She didn't like it.
There you go.
Olaf, flash, front, gets taken down. These SMGs, they're taking the gamble and they take the fight because pushing up, it's Olaf's AK found, and Cbble does get Shox back after boosting in behind him, but he's left alone temporarily over toward the B tunnels. The rest rotating back in his direction from the A side statue.
Well, you can see why G2 had to go aggressive there. They've even got these SMGs ready to work with, aggressive towards the upper platform. And this is interesting. I've never seen this before, Matt. This boost on top of their heads to throw smokes. This is a new one. We've got NIP smokes that are thrown from that similar position.
That's
but
actually insanity.
I've never seen that before. I've seen it in different variations on different maps, but not on Cbble in that particular position. That looks, is that correct? Okay, yes,
no, this is a wall of smoke A. Hover that for me. As Kenny, meanwhile, is going to get tested. Stands tall, stands firm, stands very tall and firm because he takes down JW and no, that was not an innuendo. Calm down as body will drop. Flush a bomb left on the ground, and Crims is in a 1 versus 3.
Yeah, not really much Crims can do without this one. 30 seconds remaining. He needs to find a kill. It'd be a bit of a blunder from GT to give him anything to work with here. He has to commit to a plant. You want to make him go towards the bomb, actually touch the attempt to the plant, and then you challenge him. You can see that's going for that right now. They've given this mission away, so there it is. MBK finds the final kill. That was actually pretty cool from Fnatic. They obviously have been putting some work in towards this map, and that was almost the exact mentality of the NIP smokes, just a different variation. Normally the NIP smokes go towards the B site, and then you're running towards A. This time those smokes, it's from the same position, go towards the A bomb site, creating a complete wall like we saw, and then they went towards the B site. Unfortunately, didn't really get anything for it whatsoever. No plant once again, so they'll just be down to Tech 9s and CZs, and a cheeky little deagle there as well. But a double AWP setup comes out for G2 pretty early here, and MBK still with his MP7. Olaf my step, as we mentioned in the pre-game, loves this upper platform position, but doesn't have the rifle to really make anything happen with it for now.
Kenny S at Chicken Coop 4-0 G2. I think I would have favored G2 on paper in this game as well.
Yeah.
But great start so far. Kenny catching Olaf. Dennis gets absolutely nailed as well. Dare not be the third. Who's going to walk in next? Crims is ever close, but not going to go. Nade goes toward Flush's feet. More damage by Kenny. Add that ADR because he's a superstar.
I've only lost MBK so far, and he had the MP7, so
yeah, not a bad situation.
Yeah, that's actually fine because you don't really want to hold on to them for that amount of time. You know the AK's coming out next, but this could actually fall in favor of Fnatic. But Body's there to save the day. Okay, then Body.
Body's always so good on rotations.
Yeah, he's so good at holding like solo bomb sites by himself, and then coming in and cleaning up clutches and finding a couple of kills here and there.
So far, Kenny we've got
double
my
Henry.
voice on replay.
Yeah.
Double Henry, double Sado. Could you imagine if I was a twin? I wouldn't need you.
Well, you would. Who's going to provide the knowledge?
My twin would have gone after the knowledge, I'm sure.
Yeah, who'd have been the next pro?
Telepathic. They wouldn't have been able to tell us apart. It would have been like I was solo casting and never having to breathe.
Oh, Shoxy, that looked a little bit too easy. Fnatic trying to change the pace up a little bit there, and actually working against them. Shoxy, pretty standard face towards middle. Fnatic didn't see it coming. You normally want to be flashing towards mid doors, but Shoxy might have overstayed his welcome a little bit here. Gets it over just about.
A little pop flash off the sign. Dennis starting to push up, smoke out. Takes off. Ooh, and clears that position, but I think Apex spotted him just above the smoke when he re-entered toward long.
Yeah, these rounds aren't going too well at all for Fnatic. Early pick goes against them, and then a second as well. They've got nothing for it so far, apart from a little bit of damage inflicted to Shoxy. So what's left, Matt? They've got one smoke, a Molotov, and a flashbang, and only 3 players to work with. Someone has to go absolutely bananas this round. Sorry?
F5 is next.
Okay.
Control F5.
What does that do?
Isn't it F5? What's the one that automatically kills the game? I can't remember.
F10.
F10. There we go. See.
Good joke, though.
I don't press that button often. I usually I'm rage-inducing it upon others. I don't pay attention to them.
Right. Well, you can take a screenshot of F12. You can do that.
I knew that.
Okay.
I knew that. I do that all the time to post my incredible stats.
So did Chad.
That I actually believe.
Yeah.
Either way, Olaf's going to start to go back toward A side. Meanwhile, they've got one more player up toward long as well, but walking together, it's Apex. They have to confront first. Shox, brief bit of vision down toward bottom of mid as well, but Apex, they just walk in, don't check. And Shox can hold firm because now it's going to be flush and then that's around the corner, and Apex backs up to find that kill as well. 4 for him in the round.
Looking a little bit out of their depth at the moment. Obviously, the 5-on-3, they're taking a bit of a gamble. Can't really afford to check every single thing, but it looks a little bit too easy for G2 right now. They're just playing in standard positions, getting aggressive at the start of the round, and Fnatic getting picked off 1 by 1. And it has to be another partial buy here. Still quite early days. Yes, it's 6-0, but they could even win the half if they lose this round. So don't count it out just yet. As we get into the Tech9 situation with a CZ, a couple of smokes, flashbangs here, and walking into B. A boost comes in from MBK. Perfect position to hold off a round like this, and all 5 players for Fnatic. Will be flashing over momentarily and hoping to find an entry kill here.
Right, so MBK back away though, flashed off. Finally an M3 kill for Fnatic as Kenny tries to turn back with the AWP, not successfully so. He gets one before going down, but this is much better from Fnatic. This is almost classic. Tech9s push in as hard as possible, beat their rotations to the choke points and take them down as they try and re-enter. It's all onto Apex, 1 versus 2. And the bomb planted. Ooh, he nearly gets spotted out. This could leave a bit of a vulnerable position for Crims on top of the site, but he's got a man pushing up to his left. It's going to be JW. Doesn't hit the shot. Now knows where both are, and Apex is desperate and trying to bait them out. Won't be successful in doing so.
Well, finally, something goes in the favor of Fnatic. They post their first round, and like you said, in classic Fnatic fashion, going towards the B site, flashing in, and managing to find the first kill and the second as well. Tech9's actually overwhelming Kenny S on the AWP. And now they do have a decent amount of cash to work with, and JW on the orb himself. G2 falling back to this double orb scenario every single round they can, it seems. And Shoxy back in the same position, trying to open things up here. Going to see the shoulder. Oh, maybe not quite. Another player waiting behind the rock there. That was actually Flusher.
Shox, meanwhile, toward long with Apex. Ooh, spotting lower. That'll pull Shox back. It should. He's got to watch Danger to make sure he's not pushed. But as they cross towards Stables, he's got a front row seat. Problem is, do they go back to take over Danger and get more control? Clearly not, which is a bit peculiar, I have to say. Shox had an opportunity to actually stab them in the back. He finds JW instead. Oh, mistiming on the change of weaponry, but the smoke's out toward balcony. They know there's one inside of it. Flush is going to be watched when he walks through. And Kenny's still trying to find an opportunity on the other side of that smoke with an AWP. So there's one on each wing to cover off the take. Dennis getting the finally an opening kill. It's followed up by Crims for Fnatic, but Kenny's there to trade it back 2 versus 2. And remember, Shox is still out toward long. I take it back. They found him. So it's MBK locked from the site. Safe plant easily for Crims. And a long hold coming in from Olaf. Potentially back-to-back rounds pending reset from Fnatic. So MBK with a lot of work to do, slips in through the vents. Olaf, no need to peek from the right, and Crims will stay on top of the site to get the early information on 29. Flash over won't indicate directly where he came from, but it does insinuate a peek coming out from Olaf, and that'll end the round 6-2. So Fnatic back-to-back Question is now, what's the money left over on the French side?
I think
that's
they've,
decent.
yeah, it's going to be fine for now. Even though they're buying double orbs, they won't fall back to that. This round, I don't think just get Kenny S. Oh, they do, in fact. They really do want to make this setup work for them. They must have had a lot of success in practice of it recently. We normally talk about it being one of those situational buys, but every gun round, an opportunity they've had, they bring it to the table here. Shoxy towards A, it seems, and Kenny S focusing on B. I think that's a nice way to set things up. And Shoxy, once again, aggressive towards middle, has no problem at all trying to find the confidence to get that pick. And a run boost towards B as well. I love that from G2. Kenny S can't quite land the shot there, but he spots a player.
I apologize.
What did you do?
I was pressing a cough box on our dead mic.
Ah.
So I just cleared my throat in everyone's ear. I apologize.
It's okay.
I'm going to move this so it's not near me. No more temptation. But we're ready to roll. MBK pushing up. They pushed this last time with a flash in the MP7. Didn't work out for them. I also interrupted you, Henry. And for that, I'm not quite as sorry.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
Fair enough.
Well, we have got some decent map control coming in from Fnatic here. You can see towards the A side of the map with Crims and Flusher. They've actually taken the vision away from the CTs that were trying to go for those aggro picks at the start, and they could throw some smokes towards the A side of the map, and they certainly will do towards connecting maybe the bomb side itself. You can see Crims lining it up right now. That one's actually going towards a balcony, so this should be some sort of commitment. The bombs are down towards B, though, so maybe just trying to pull rotations at this stage to leave Crims there potentially as well. G2 aren't really reacting as of yet. There will be an A-side of attack, but Apex doing some decent work there. Shox chimes in as well. 4 on 3. Flusher has gone down to 24 as well.
Position for Shox, though. Not bad, because Flusher walks directly into him. It's JW backing away, bomb included. And he's got to rely on Olaf to find a pick. Smoke dissolving. Kenny not quite envision him behind the boxes at long. He'll hold that position. One thing he could... Oh, Kenny might find him first. It's MBK that gets Olaf as well with bomb. JW finds Kenny in return, but 6 seconds round's going to be over. I thought maybe Kenny backing away might get caught in the end, but wrong time, wrong place. And it's another round for G2 to make it 7-2. And Fnatic, they go low on money yet. Again, they do have enough on JW based on the save, but 1450 only for Olaf, who's 1-8.
Yeah, that's quite rare. This is normally back in the glory days of Fnatic.
Yeah,
this is the absolute best. Like when Pronax was like kind of feeling the pressure tactically, they would just take a pause. Then, okay, Olaf, can you just try and find some kills towards B? Always deliver. It was such a sensational map for him, but doesn't seem to be his day today. But we'll go in towards round number 10 here. JW. He's got the AWP once again. I guess you can class this as a force buy considering Flusher has the Tech 9. They are slightly limited with the utility as well. Flusher will be holding towards middle and seeing if there is any aggro from the CTs, which has been quite prevalent so far. But he's only got that Tech 9, so not really much you can do at that range. Take 2 quick things to take down any CTs pushing from long A. Fnatic just holding up for now. And in terms of the smokes, they've got 4 remaining. Let's see what those Shox with this decent position towards APC. Uses that smoke on the left-hand side to give them a bit more control towards middle.
JW waiting for an opportunity at long B, but it's Apex and Kenny that'll fall back slightly. More so Apex. 4 in B, I imagine he'll just sit toward connector and be sure to cover it off. He's considering the possibility without information that I'd say, so maybe he'll go a little bit further, but for my sake, and for their sake more than anything, I'd like to see him stay a little bit closer so we can see what these crossfires are capable of from Fnatic's perspective. They'd love him to buzz off, go home, and hang out over on the other side with Shox. And BK, meanwhile, is going to stay inside of the smokes, the first wall back toward Rock, but they leave a gap, and that's not a gap, I take it back. It's Kenny getting aggressive to find one, but look at the kills from Fnatic. Crossfires or not, they just obliterate G2 on entry. This will be their 3rd round, surely, because Shox is the last alive, and he's over on A.
Yeah, just to call out Olafmeister as well. He actually gets 2 big kills with the AK-47s, both headshots, and manages to shut down that B bomb site. His teammates coming in quickly after as well. Dennis chimes in along with Crims, and just Shoxy trying to save the AWP at this point. It looks like they're going to try and hunt him down as well. This would be quite a harsh reset for the CTs. Last 2 rounds are being pretty rough for them. Shox does indeed go down, and it will have to be an eco. They cannot buy, they really want it. They could force it. So Shox has 5k, body on 4900. They could go for like another double orb setup, and there's pistols surrounding it. Bit of a high-risk maneuver at this point. Not necessarily required. We'll see where they go for it. M4 comes in for G2. And maybe a little bit more as well. Shoxy, interested to see what he buys. He goes for the AWP, indeed. Not going to give it to Kenny S. Interesting decision. He has been an AWPer as well. And we'll see whether he can light up the scoreboard here. Cobble's certainly one of those maps that lends himself to this sort of situation. Managing to go towards middle like Shoxy has aggressively, then back towards B, just trying to funnel where the T's will be going, dictating the play. And for now, Fnatic not 100% sure what they're up against. They're trying to ascertain, is it going to be an eco at this point? Are they force buying against us? And it won't be necessarily clear because they'll come across some pistols, and whether they find shocks is yet to be seen.
Shocks goes back inside of B, this time not on the AWP, or excuse me, with the only AWP. It's a body that has the M4. So Kenny sticks to the Deagle. JW aiming high. Whoa, could be found by that pistol, scoped in and nearly as Apex to run and gun. All he really does is get information, takes a bit of damage, and then falls back into the site. But man, oh man, did he ever have a chance to take out JW. With Kenny's magic stick.
It's back.
And Apex is going to go back for more as well. Confirm they are there. Flash in potentially. No, just Kenny's information. Apex has his own flash, so it would have been hard to time that correctly. But let's flush it down. He does find the opening kill. Crims trades. It's more important in this sense because they just need to keep the rifles in place. They get to the site. Nice shot from Kenny, but they know he's at barrels, which means they should, quickly be able to get on top of him. He, in fact, tries to re-peek to catch them off rather than sit and wait for their arrival. But with Dennis doing that deed, and Olaf finding shocks, it all comes to the M4 body, who's got it down to a 1 versus 2. Decent chance to catch out Dennis, who finds now that he's inside of the site. Spots him jumping up, just sees the foot, but can't find the angle. And Dennis, he stayed on top of the hut as well. Spots him now, but can't land the shots. And he'll go down as Dennis hits the head with the AK.
Force buy not working out for G2 there. Body doing what he could towards the end of the round. He gets one in the 3v1 situation and spots Dennis as well. But good awareness from Dennis and a nice reaction shot to take him down. And you can see Fnatic reading the economy quite nicely as well. It's going to be 2 MAC-10s for them, which will make light work of these unarmored CTs with default pistols. So should be almost guaranteed round for Fnatic. As I said earlier, even when they're 6-0 down, you can't ever really discount a team like Fnatic. They can always grind their way back into these games, and not really much G2 can do about this situation. Apex trying to spot towards middle, does spot a single player, but Olaf Meister, as we said, so strong in his upper platform position. Not going to be giving too much away though. Falls back, and they'll just be doing some nades. We'll drop down, try and get some control with this close range weaponry.
Body sits P2000. It's JW though that has the MAC-10 inside a drop. As Fnatic's pulled this game back in a relatively decent manner, all things considered, from what was, I think, 6-0 down. So 7-4, potentially 7-5. Crims has to be a little bit careful. Damage dealt his direction, but Dennis is there to walk out and get MBK, and that's going to be round done. Kenny found in the Hobbit hole. And Apex downed.
You're going with Hobbit hole?
Hobbit hole's what it's called, my friend.
Yeah. Well, you're the first one to name it, I think, so you might have...
It's just like the Jaden round.
Yeah, that went so well. That's the Hobbit hole on your screen right there. It's got a chicken in there right now. Forget about him. He's
just escaped from the coop to go hang out with the Hobbit. Hobbits are vegetarians, naturally.
Round 13.
They like potatoes, you know, boil them, mash them, put them in a stew.
Yeah, that was one of the original memes.
It's a good one, to be fair.
Oh, round 13 comes in. Kenny S, glass cannon, no defuse kits at all for. And okay, the same
thing.
I reckon they'll commit to it this time. Like, since our last one, they faked towards B.
They could, especially with a player toward long, but they have to be careful because that player's made a lot of noise.
Yeah,
and he's going to get faced off. Decent smoke, so we're going to watch this land. It's Dennis that's at the corner waiting for this, so it's... Ooh, is that...
No, it's fine. It creates a whole
okay, so it does create a wall. I thought that one was supposed to go... Oh, no, it is diagonal. Okay, I thought it was deeper at the front of APC. I didn't catch it last time because we swapped over to B.
This is new, though. I like this.
It is an interesting approach. And it's going to start off, though, over to B. It's still a fake because they can get there faster. Nice shot, Kenny. Flashed, smoke, doesn't matter. As JW spots a gun barrel body, slips forward, watch the tracers. He's got to be very careful inside of the archway. I think there's more to those smokes, you're right. The problem is it's such a far commitment away from the site by the time they land. You have to instantly book it down through mid.
Yeah, well, the idea is it's very similar to the MIP, just the exact opposite, if that makes any sense. Like, it's the same position and same mentality. You're throwing smokes to one area of the map, then going to another. I'd like to see them experiment doing those smokes and trying to see whether you can actually use them. It looks like they're for a play in towards the connector area, and then try to maybe segregate any players rotating towards drop down as well. I'm sure there's many options, and they've only shown us the B side of the attack so far with that. But it's going to be G2 picking up a couple of rounds in a row here as we go into the next round. Number 14 coming into the latter stages of the first half here. Still enough money for a buy here for Fnatic, but not a ton of cash available in terms of the AWP, and that run boost comes in once again. Kenny might get caught out here. Olaf Meister just behind the smoke, and it's a decent flashbang as well.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Good find from Olaf as Kenny cannot escape. Good opening pick from Olaf on a B platform that he used to dominate. So getting something rolling for them at 8-5. Chance to pull this half a little bit closer. Fnatic can convert. Shocks, tap, tap, tap. Can't land. Finally does. Apex made swifter work of Dennis on a much more powerful rifle, in my opinion. The AK-47, I don't think it's really an opinion, but the discrepancy of which is for debate. I think it's significant. Shocks will walk out. Oh, that one's much better. Headshot tag in the first. Follows it, but Body actually steals the kill, and the damage coming from Apex was overwhelming to that of Shocks, so he gets the assist. But it leaves poor Olaf with 2 kills to find all 5. And a bomb down in the site that he's not going toward.
He has got time, though. So something to work with here. Changes his position up towards drop down we go. And he'll make his entrance out. I think he's made some noise. Oh, apparently not been heard, though. So MBK could find himself in a little bit of trouble. Olaf Meister, I'm going to guarantee he gets his kill. There it is. Now we have got a game on our hands. We'll see whether he can actually finish this one off, but unfortunately only has 29 HP. Time ticking away, and obviously they know his position by now.
Olaf near the vents, just getting closer. He can still make this work. Body knows his position, so he'll stay behind the pillar, fortified at stables. And it's on the site. That's low HP. It's Apex, and he's going to bail on this, is he? 11 seconds. If he's going to go, he's got to go now. Can't pick up the bomb, and Body hears him the whole time.
Decent attempt by Olaf Meister, 3 kills in total, but not enough to pick up the round victory there. We go to round number 15. Money's still in an okay position for Fnatic, losing 3 rounds in a row. So AK's come out once more, and we'll go back to that double orb setup for G2. In terms of the scoreboard, Olaf Meister's started to catch up a little bit now, and you can see JW is the one lacking behind. Olaf was actually on 1 and 8, I think, at one point, so he's done a decent job to actually recover.
Olaf to go again toward his position at platform. Oh, tags up damage. 24, has to back off immediately. So not quite as successful this time, but it's all for fake. He's trying to hold them. They want to go long. It's Apex down below at mid. This place he found 2 last time we spotted him here. This time he gets 1 immediately. JW, no chance, but what a shot from Crims.
Wow.
Take the photo, Mom. I'm in the sights. Just kidding, I'm gonna kill you. Flusha takes Apex. Don't worry, I'm not very good with references tonight. It's fine. Something's still a little scatterbrained, and I'm sorry, Mom. I never meant to hurt you, but tonight I'm cleaning out my closet.
Okay, he's back.
As Kenny will
He's
get
back.
inside of the smoke. And it's an AWP in his hand. It's Dennis to play with at the top of mid, half wall from Effect. He's gonna go as well. He's got 100 HP. He's gotta be one of the ones to open it up, but oh, nice shot. The arm shown nearly baits in MBK, but he holds on to find it in return. And Flusha and Crims will win out the round for Fnatic. 9-6 in the end of the half.
Yeah, well, Fnatic really brought that back, didn't they? They were 7-0 down. They weren't looking too great, but they showed some great creativity with the tactics, some rounds we haven't seen before, and I'm sure they've got some more tricks up their sleeve for the second half, Matt. So we'll take a break now. Do not go anywhere with the second half of Cbble.
Well, Kenny has stepped up a lot, I have to say. The early start as well from G2 led to great economic strength. They went with 4 SMGs in the first gun round, made it work, but then Fnatic did claw themselves back into a reasonable situation at 9-6.
It took one Tech 9 round towards B, that got them straight back in towards the game.
round.
Yeah, so that was quite nice to see. A little bit of magic from those lesser pistols, but we'll see whether they can continue that form. They do lose the half 9-6 in total. Pistol going to be very influential. If G2 pick it up, they're going to have quite an easy run here on the T side. But we'll see what they can do as we get into it. Very similar buy, 4 sets of armor and shocks. He's got the Molotov, no smoke. That's interesting. He'll be using that towards the steps position or towards chicken coop, wherever he sees fit. But Olofmeister, oh, aggressive, of course, does not find the first hit there. He'll be falling back now.
Olaf. Taken down, not quite, does get body, but tagged up. He's only on 56. I thought that was going to be much worse. It's him that steps up to find Apex, and then Crims arrives at the party. Nice shot towards Shocks. It's Kenny in a 1 versus 4. P2, no, excuse me, Glock. No, P2000 didn't swap that over. He's still got a Glock, and a Glock is useless, and Olaf shows him why. 9-7. Fnatic can tie this 9-9 right now.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that strategy from G2. We've kind of discussed it a lot, especially in Vegas. Most teams actually slowing things down right at the start, seeing what CT approach comes in, using their smoke towards connector, then you may be going for an A split or actually just hitting the B in total, but they didn't buy a smoke and they got shut down by Olofmeister, not necessarily getting the first shot and getting the pick. He actually goes and gets some damage, spots all 4, and his teammates can rotate in and actually having quite an easy run at that point. Similar story though for G2 after losing the pistol. They're going to be on Tech 9's body's just burning alive. They're down to 31 HP. Lucky to still be running in this area, and they does more damage as well. And it's going to be JW to finish him off there. 5 on 4. And options very limited for the T side here, taking a ton of damage.
Decent damage as D just flushing now, looks for more. JW, careful on the reload. Stops it up, realizes he's got people to kill. It's far more important than getting bullets in your gun, especially if you got enough left over to kill people with. JW will find him inside of the smoke, but Flusha, he gets Kenny and steps up as well to find shots. We know he loves a good UMP. Loves the UMP, that one.
Yeah, a lot of top players do these days. But there's some names that come to mind. Nico especially, he's one of the kind of front runners with that weapon. Seems to use it like a rifle sometimes.
FaZe Nico.
Yeah, FaZe Nico, indeed. I'm so excited to see them.
Same.
That's going to be so nuts. If you can continue to form from Vegas, can you imagine? It's going to be nuts.
I think there's a chance he will, you know. I think he's been relieved of stress and his duties as in-game leading. I think it'll all start to go full circle for him. Obviously, Dennis was doing a little more of the in-game leading toward the end, but still.
Yeah, that's going to be very exciting to watch. Well, Fnatic, they've won the pistol in the second round as well, so it's going to be just P250s, Glocks. Not really much for G2 to do in this round. JW got some Braxley just in the Tech 9, interesting enough. Same story for Crims as well. As we flush out the first bit of confrontation there, he takes that Apex. JW still hunting for the kills here, manages to get 1 kill. I would speculate he gets a couple more, apparently not. Crims has to assist him in finding shots.
Through, Dennis finds yet another, and it's 9-9, just like that question is. Okay, they've got 2 M4s, 1 death, and Crims with the Tech 9. They'll go to rifles predominantly. Inevitably, Crims grabs the A1S. We grab a camera in the air. And the 2 AKs brought over, so it's going to be 3 AKs. An A1S. An AWP. Hang on. How are you in the game? Did you crash?
I crashed.
Oh, I looked at your screen thinking you were... I messed up the buy. There's no AKs.
No, there is.
Calm down. On the other side, I meant...
Oh, right.
You're still in the lot. It's all swapped up. So
okay, tell you
it's...
Let's turn that off.
Yeah, turn that off. You've confused me completely. There's UMPs,
I crashed.
2 M4s, and an up. I was looking over going, that buy doesn't make sense. What? They didn't save AKs? How are those on the CT side? But it's going to be MBK to take down Dennis. It is with an AK, and it is on the terrorist side. Olaf trying to spray through, can't find anything in return. Has to get the reload in. And it's tags considerably onto NBK and Kenny. Olaf wants closer, plays Cubby, has to watch Chicken Coop because if he leaves himself exposed and swings the statue, not only is he open toward platform, but Body finds him. So instead, he's going to hold off on statue to let Body show himself, then take the peek toward MBK. Well-timed, Olaf, well read.
knew he was there, baited him out by looking elsewhere, and a smoke off, 6 HP, 5-second full defuse coming in, but Shox, he's late to it, has to rush out now to try and stop it, won't, goes down, round to Fnatic.
What a fantastic retake that was. It looked so promising for G2 at the start of the round there. Full execution towards B, the smokes were good, flashbangs were on point as well, finding the first couple of kills, but Olofmeister, he's got himself in the 5th gear at this point. That was some vintage stuff from him, going into the site, finding the low HP player, spinning around 180 to take down Body, who was a chicken coop as well. His teammates chimed in at that point, and a very, very good round from Fnatic. He goes to number 5 here with the bomb planted and the loss bonus accumulating. G2 do manage to get it by up, but you can see it's very limited. Yes, they have the AWP in the hands of Kenny S, but Khalil for Shoxy, and actually not really many grenades to speak of whatsoever. Only 1 smoke as we enter the 1-minute 35 mark, so you have a bit of a rough time here, but you never can know when Kenny S has that AWP in his hand.
Smoke out from Olaf. Plays inside a hobbit hole. Kenny, meanwhile, with an AWP, is going to stare down toward the B platform position where Olaf is electing to be more passive on this time. Have to consider Body. Top of drop as he looks to find an access point. The rest of his team accumulate behind him inside of the halls, which will now also have MBK rotating in that direction. Kenny starts the charge. He'll go down first. Smoke, or rather flames, still in front of him. Where there's fire, there's smoke. Where there's smoke, there's fire. That doesn't work in CS.
No.
Shot from far, though. Olaf is able to pick up. Apex knows there's smoke out in front of him, so he actually walks on the stairs to find that exact position toward Arch. They had no one peeking it. They're playing Rock and passive instead. And it's Crims that's now going to turn and support Olaf, who just supported him. Flash goes out. Olaf finds another and another. 2 in total. And great team play, but it does mean that Crims going down after Apex does opens a little bit of space. Dennis now has to hold position. And JW, he's bought space behind the rock. Body spots him up. Flash goes over, but it blinds both, and Dennis is in position to capitalize on Kenny. It's all down to Body, and a nade going in, damage to be dealt. It's minimal, 59 HP, but round is very limited in its options. He's gonna get forced out, taken down by Dennis.
Olaf putting on a bit of a show at the moment. 3 kills with him, aggressive towards the platform area, getting flashed in by his teammates, mowing 3 of them down, and actually gonna be forcing G2 and Eco as well here. Remember, when you first half, Fnatic were down 0-7, so they've done a fantastic job here, especially in the second half. Haven't given a single round away so far. G2 down to another partial buy. They're maximum loss bonus now, so going to afford Tech 9s and some utility and some body armor, and they'll be looking to buy up the next round. Now it's the double AWP set up for Fnatic. Secondary AWP will be Dennis, and we've always talked about this team and the way they mix things up with the AWPs. Never been consistent. We'll see whether this works out for them. Body, Molotov to a chicken coop. And I'm sure they'll be capitalizing momentarily with the flashbangs.
Smoke in, flashes, capitalize indeed because Olaf completely blinded. Dennis stuck inside of the chicken coop, pops out in time, 5-7. Finds a quick kill. As he wraps around though, he's got company on both sides, and much like Fnatic's fast Tech 9 round, it's G2 to go aggressive inside of the B site with wall of smoke and get the plant in. MBK, 41 HP, is gonna stay on statue. The flames reach him, backs up, and it's Crims to get the kill. Kenny makes up for it though because he's got the AWP dropped by Dennis and can start to hold the line. It's Flusha that wants to Flusha him out with a nade, a Molotov at that. Can't quite line it up, does reach him in the end. Great shot, and now he's got a great chance, Great Scott, because it's 17 HP for Shox, no armor, and Flush has tapped it, holding the line. Shox has to peek perfectly, very nearly taken down in return, and Flusha changes his angle once more. He has to check, and Flusha knows it.
It's close.
That's very close, but it's diffused.
Just about. That's, yeah, 0.4 seconds remaining. Is luckily the stat saving me there. I wasn't going to speculate too wildly there, but it works out. There it is. I was about to say, I had it ready in the chamber to say that both teams enter the game with a Tech 9 round towards B, but Fnatic deny it once again. But bomb planting G2 have a lot of money going into this round. Haven't managed to post a single round in the second half just yet, though. Number 7 comes in. And we'll see what they can do here. Kenny S back on towards that AWP, and a different setup this time from Fnatic. 2 towards long A. JW will be baiting in flushing. See that on the minimap right now on the left-hand side. JW takes the first shot. He'll fall back. Flusher then presumably going to spray as many players as he can down, and it could work out as well. G2 actually hunting towards this area. Flash will be coming in. Maybe that's a Molotov to actually kick things off. This could actually foil their plans.
JW times it well, gets Kenny blinded off the jump to bait. He hits the second shot and then Flushes steps out. The Molotov does nothing to prevent him from finding such kills. Body gets one in return.
But Fnatic has definitely reversed the fates on this map, I have to say. They dominate thus far in the second half.
Yeah.
And they look as though they'll continue to do so as Olaf pushes forward to find Shocks.
They're looking very good on the CT half. You know what? That Molotov actually helps them out a little bit.
Remember that Fnatic beat these guys, this super team, in the IEM Katowice qualifiers. I have no idea why I said it that way. More because Karn had the tweet that had the link to Liquipedia.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Well then, no one on the GT side really stepping up as of yet. As I was about to say, that Molotov towards long A actually helps Flusher somewhat, you know, because he was going to be hiding completely baited in by the AWPer. The AWPer actually takes the first shot. His teammate goes to the wide peak at that point, gets a kill as well, and then he gets the second one. So actually forces him to take the challenge, and he just nails a shot. And G2 now taking the tactical pause, and probably the right time to do so. As we know from Matthew's previous blunder, I do not have the PC now. It's crashed, so we can't even spectate as to what they'll be doing. I can't see the money. But
it's fine.
They do get $3,400 into this round. So some of the players might have some residual cash. They probably could buy up into this one.
How many bomb plants in that string of 5 rounds did they get? 1 on the pistol round, which they bought into last time. It's going to be close.
Yeah, I would say probably Tech-9s, armor, smokes, and flashes. There's a couple of AKs coming in. And pause, presumably coming out. So there it is, 4 AKs at Galil. They do have more than we expected. As we get to round number 8. Molotov towards the upper platform there, but Olafmeister giving them the same favour in return.
Molotovs aplenty, stacked in fact, underneath the arch at Long B, and 2, 1 at arch, 1 on stairs. Do you want to roast marshmallows? That's where I would go. Dennis lined them up, but it's NBK that comes out winning the exchange as the AKs blaze a trail toward JW, who nearly finds a 3rd inside of the smoke. Nade goes deep, it's just slightly wide of Body, who's now on 54, and JW's trying to back his way through the smokes with an AWP in hand, but Body spots the gun barrel all too easy for him, and now it's finally, potentially, I won't say it until it's done, a round for G2, because Flush has clutched these back in the past.
He certainly has. Decent incendiary to make the Body actually take their face at that point. Now it's a 2 versus 1. Flusher has information as to where Kenny S is. Drops a smoke on the bomb as well. Round over. Yeah, Shoxy, good awareness, good rotation. Takes him down. So Flusher, his chances are thwarted. And they still have plenty of money going to the next round, but that's the first one posted now by G2. JW, this second shot was pretty nuts. My God, that was fast. And the nade as well actually landed on the bomb planter, so he had a decent chance there. And there's JW. Hasn't had the best of games. I don't think that stat's completely up to date from that previous round, but here he goes again towards middle. Double up setup once again. Olafmeister. But this time it was Dennis before. Like we said, this team more than happy to swap responsibilities up on the roles, especially with the sniper rifle. And it's one thing we've always talked about, Matt, and they seem to be happy with it, but the results really do speak for themselves. There's not many teams who operate in that manner. They have 1 main AWPer, a secondary AWPer, and maybe that secondary AWPer role changes per map, but normally your superstars have to be, like, if you want to be a consistent top AWPer, you need to be having the same names AWPing every single time, in my opinion. Maybe it's something Chad can discuss on the desk as well.
It's definitely something that they can discuss. Whether or not they will, Henry, it's yet to be determined. Stay tuned to find out. The desk coming up after this brief introduction of a game.
Yeah, that's what everyone's really tuning in for.
Apex already down inside of a drop. Has Crims backing toward the window to contain. Passive from inside of the site this time. Not a close hold from Rock on the other side of E-Box. It's going to be Olaf with the AWP playing at the statue, but Dennis starts off by getting Kenny. And Crims rotates back inside of the site because they pull over a second player from the B site. That's Flusha, but he's gone down, and Crims, struggling to find the angle, ends up losing a man beside him before getting the kill in return. It gives MBK a brief chance at this. Problem is they're facing a reset, and he's in a 1 versus 2 flashover, and JW's already found him. It's 14 rounds Fnatic.
Certainly is. Doing a good job there at the start of the round to shut down G2. They're going towards B. Kenny S trying to open things up with that first pick, but Dennis aggressive with the M4, finds him, gets a second as well, falls back. Olafmeister managing to spray a lot more remaining player down. But G2 now in a lot of trouble. They do sort of force bind this round. There's a lot of, well, some money left over. I think I saw a couple of $1,000 left over, but looking down the barrel up, match pointer. I'll just remind you, yes, there are 2 maps tonight, but they both contribute to the league separately. The winner on the map is considered just a win in general. So Tech9s, a CZ in the hands of MBK, and what started so fantastically on Cobble has fallen apart here for G2 in the second half. So our predictions of them using that time when they weren't at Vegas to kind of boot camp and practice and be ready.
Didn't work.
Well, not necessarily hasn't worked. It's very difficult to judge anything from these online games. You know, like it's not like both teams are operating maybe they would have like a top offender. It's very difficult to ascertain too much information.
He did do well, I will say, they did do well to find those new smoke setup. They just never made it work on the Fnatic side. But they were obviously at the event, and G2 showing nothing of nature to try and be as creative. Pretty straightforward. I have to say Flush's Molotov on top of the B site's quite impressive too. He's used that twice to move people in the post plant. As it's all NBK yet again, and it's going to be map point for Fnatic. Nice shot to find JW, but Flush is there to trade off immediately, and it gives us 1 round to go in map number 1. Remember, it's 2 individual best of ones, and G2, this would put them 0 for 3 in the year, I think, if they don't win this one.
Yeah, they've only played 2 games so far against Envious. So yeah, 0 and 3. Up against some like classic rivals as well in terms of the organization. So it's been a rough start for them in terms of the games they've kicked it off with. But here comes potentially the final round. They're only on the second stage loss bonus here. So Tech9s, like a little bit of utility. Last chance saloon really, and Olof Meister aggressive. Can't nail the shot, but spots 2 or 3 there. Will be falling back, and there's a response from Fnatic, throwing in some HE grenades and incendiaries as well up the body now to try and make something happen. But Olof Meister getting flashed, but actually decides to pull back. I thought he'd commit to that one.
Spraying through, desperate to get damage done, can't find any. And a bomb plant comes in from G2 on Tech9s, and a Galil from Kenny. Olaf anticipating the boost, nearly tries to jump up and spot in return, but as they get aggressive, Crims holds off the line. Nice shot on Kenny. Down goes the rifle, and he hits that through the chicken coop. And Olaf's gonna go onto the site, knows there's one immediately behind. It's a leg shot, knows it is, and immediately goes to the pistol, but Flusha finds the kill instead. With the pistol, though, from range, he's gotta find the shot toward long. There's still a chance in this for G2, as it is a 2 versus 2. It's better than that. No, it's not. Crims didn't go down. I thought that was an updated obituary. It's not Shocks, though. He's going to make it awkward for Crims. Finds one. Time ever ticking. And I think they know it's gone, so let's just have a little fun. Knife, knife. Please knife, please knife. Always knife.
Always knife. Advice from Sedicus there. Always pull out the knife in those situations, but
in any situation.
You know what? That's actually a really big round for G2. In terms of making this a realistic comeback, that round works out. The money's going to be super low now for Fnatic. They do lose all 5 players, but they actually have the advantage. Fnatic, considering they have match point here, they should probably eco, and there's a chance for G2 to really get their teeth stank into the second half. That's only the second round. Remember, that's first half finished 9-6, so far they've only found 2 rounds in the second half. Back towards B we go, and that B execution of the Tech9s could be the lifeline that brings it to overtime. We'll see what happens as we go forward. MBK looking very confident here. Got a simple execution. There's a flashbang in. No smokes really used at all. And yeah, it should be a clean sweep.
Yeah, we could have a game on our hands. We could indeed. I said they were going to go 0-3. Maybe not. They'll get 1 kill here from JW. Not quite as efficiently as he might have hoped, so won't go after the gun yet. Wants them to think that he is, and then he'll hold above and potentially get a second shot as the round expires, and then pick up a weapon. Because if he commits down drop, there's nowhere to hide except in connector. Goes now, body finds it, no gun to be had.
Certainly not. Well then, G2, like we said, very simple execution towards the B side of the map. A couple of flashbangs over. They're reading the economic situation for Fnatic very well indeed. And another eco for Fnatic. It does make sense. You've got match point at this point. That's not overcommit. That's not forced into situations that are unfavorable. Every map counts, like we said. So best of ones, you want to make sure you're going for the intelligent buys instead of trying to close things out quickly. So still a possibility to win these rounds with the CZs, right? But dangerously close there to ahead of one of the Fnatic players towards the mid doors. But at this point, I think they've heard a few shots at the pistols, so G2 will be aware and can just operate with the AK-47s. Flashbangs and smokes towards long A. MBK's there with the bomb as well. 2 players accompanying him, and they will be going for that long A control. 1 player towards B just showing his Anderson presence towards that position.
So lining up for default over toward the A site. With 4 players inside of it, they have to be very careful because Shocks, he's just going back in that direction now. Flusher will spot a Molotov. A second one goes beyond him. Oh, he's got to make a decision. Get out while he can, 86 HP. Makes it to the corner. They don't hit the tags either, so he's evaded them at least a moment longer through the door. JW tagged it now. As Flusher goes, this is starting to fall apart. I thought there was a chance with the stack up that could make it work. Unfortunately for them, they're all going to be found, with the exception of Crims, who has Bomb and AK picked up, but no armor sprayed through. Apex finding him. It's all off in a 1 versus... Finish my sentence, Henry. It's what you normally do.
3.
Thank you.
Is that what I normally do?
Yeah.
That one wasn't really
We're at the level now.
the alley-oop we
No,
normally
it's fine.
have. That's why would I jump in there?
It's fine.
Well, okay then. Round number 14. So this is why Fnatic, they wanted to make sure they have absolutely everything to work with here. Bring out the AWPs, and you can see Dennis double AWP, okay? Like we said, it's been all off AWPing as well. Now Dennis having a go. Only 1 kit, but they do have the firepower to work with here. Trying to close things out with the sniper rifles. Flush up towards long A, and JW. Oh, I thought he was going to nail that shot towards Danger. Can't quite hit it, and takes 52 damage there as he falls back. MBK and Body facing him at the same time, so Flusher will be taking control of Danger in the meanwhile.
That's pretty nifty.
Yeah.
That's about as well thrown as it could be. That was like having a temporary 3rd testicle that blew up for MBK. That's pretty much...
That's what I was thinking as well. I was going to finish your sentence there, and that's exactly what I was thinking.
I knew you were.
So
it's always on your mind, Henry. Apex will back away with Kenny. They'll have to. Not able to gain or ascertain any map control over toward A. Smoke top drop. They won't go that direction just yet. They just want to establish a presence toward the corner. Pink gloves, pink knives, pink everything. Red flames. White flash. Dennis. AWP is going to pop back out with his lovely worm. God misses the shot, though. Hopefully he doesn't have worms because that gun is struggling to find kills. It's going to be Flusher to get back Body. Look at the flurry of exchanges. It's a 1 versus 1, and the fight has just begun. It's Apex has to go back for the bomb, but he's got time, 36, to get back over if he'd elect to the A site.
Well, then the tension mounts. 25 seconds remaining. I thought he was going towards drop down at that point. Here we go. This is some professional observing for you. It's going to cost him 13 seconds to run to the bomb site. He needs +4 of that to actually plant the bomb. So it's going to be very tight indeed. You have about 1 second to spare once he gets to the site. All right, it's a bit more than that. Oh, there you go. It's about right. So 2 or 3 seconds out as we get into the 1v1 situation. Apex now. Huge advantage. JW no kit, AWP as well, a nightmare weapons to bring into this sort of situation.
Apex trying to hold it, spots it and nails it. And G2 will get us to a 14th round, and Fnatic failing to close out on the game means that overtime becomes a real possibility.
Yeah, all those ecos, and it comes down to the 1v1. Apex, really nice play there. Times it to perfection to get the bomb down, he gets it planted, and as soon as that bomb's dropped, not really much Flusher could do in that situation. He's just got an absolute nightmare. No kit, no nades, AWP, lost track of it completely, and might not be over just yet, but it's looking very promising to be in overtime. UMPs, a max 7, just a CZ. Comes down to this first kill. If Fnatic can get it and upgrade to a rifle, then their percentage chances increase, but towards B, that's where GT looks to be heading. 1 player holding towards middle. So Fnatic will just smoke off the entrance there. Maybe flash in and try and take control of the upper platform soon. That just denies vision from an AWPer.
Waiting and waiting and waiting. Fnatic have been waiting to try and close out this game. Pop flash in, buys a bit of space for Dennis, who now knows they're all there. Waits for it as well. Headshot on the first, falls back into position. We can't quite line it up. It's JW that's going to resume duties. He gets 1 more, 2 more. Bomb down as well. A chance as Kenny swoops in. And on his AWP, finds a fast frag, but JW is still searching for more. Flash around, catches out MBK. 1 to find, it's Kenny. Nice opening shot. And it's Flusher behind the site, but it's an AWP flash off, and Fnatic get it 16 to 14.
just about pick it up there. What an exciting way to finish things off. And Fnatic, after going 7-0 down, they pull it back and deny G2 overtime as well. It's the UMPs, the Max 7s and CZs, kind of a classic Fnatic finish, is it not? And there it is. Kind of a bit of a brawl towards the end of the round. Flashes everywhere, everyone getting AT graded down, and close range UMP action. And Fnatic pick it up.
Impressive win, I have to say. Impressive comeback. I think on that note, we should just probably send it immediately. A nice long game, considering we have a shortened schedule. Chad and Alex, I don't know what else to say.
Thank you very much, Matt. There, yes, indeed, a nice long game. A full 30 rounds for us to enjoy, and we do get to see eventually, in true Fnatic style, they win with Mag 7s and UMPs, Chad. That's exactly how it does end. I mean, quite a fitting ending to a full 30-round game.
Always fun.
Always is.
I was really impressed with the first gun round of the first half by both teams.
Okay,
right?
walk me through it.
G2, they held on to the SMGs. They almost had the Jaden round. They only had one M4, I believe. And they did an aggressive SMG move where they put all 5 players over towards the B bomb site. They boosted up drop. They had really like a lot of aggression on the B platform, set smokes. They pushed up, found a lot of information, early frags. And that meant they were able to rotate numbers back over towards that A site. And from there, I think they found themselves in a 3-on-5 situation or something like that. On the flip side of that, you saw that Fnatic did some really inventive smokes. It was, as Henry was saying, it was like the nip smokes.
One?
Yeah, and they were throwing them towards A to create a wall to the truck. And it was actually like if you were going to go A long and go onto the site, but they were going to use it as a fake. So the idea there was they were going to get A-long control. Once they had A-long control, go back and throw those smokes, maybe leave one player there to sell that fake, and then just go B. Unfortunately, it didn't happen that way because they got picked off, but the idea was there. And the issue there is because it was seen and it didn't work, when they tried to do it later on, they knew it was a fake, right? And they just didn't rotate from the B side.
But I mean, in theory, you could use that for an A execute.
Yes,
I don't know
you
why
could.
it was kind of odd to
Well,
not
it's
see
because you're
them go
throwing
for it.
3 smokes from a very passive position, so you must have the other 2 members pushed up relatively far.
Understood.
And then you're going to have to wait, and the rotation would come in, and if they know how to counter it.
Yeah, which is the reason why we don't see A executes all the time.
Yeah, there are other ways to do it. You know, you can do the smokes from the A-long area, the map, maybe not able to do the same ones, but you definitely can do them.
Yeah, you're much closer.
Yeah, and then when we flipped over, Fnatic just had like the run of the luck, I suppose. Like they were actually having to do the right things, but it seemed like all the clutch and retake situations went in their favor. They were able to retake that B bomb site a couple of times when they were down in numbers. Olaf had that round where he was pushing up Statue and Body was just at the chicken coop. And if Body had just peeked out, he would have slammed Olaf. But he waited until Olaf pushed up, and Body was doing the right thing because he wanted to be able to trade. Olaf was able to push up, get super close, find a frag on a platform player who wasn't expecting him there, and then quickly flick around and take Body. So that was a great play by him too. Yeah,
talking of great plays, if you do cast your eyes on the scoreboard, I mean, I'm seeing 26 for Flusher. Olaf had a spectacular game as well, just seeing some of his controls. I always get a little bit more excited when I see Olaf's name filling the kill feed, just because I just want to see if we ever get that old Olaf back.
Yeah, something that I have to say a bit negative about G2 was the double AWP on the first half with Shox. I feel like if you're going to have an AWP like Kenny on your team, you want to give him as much freedom as possible. You want him to be able to choose if he wants to AWP A, if he wants to be able to AWP B. All these different moves, you want to try and facilitate a really good AWP like that. By having Shox being on the AWP the majority of the time, it makes it difficult for him. So I was a bit skeptical of that, but Shox he is a good AWPer as well. You know, you could even say he might be the second best AWPer in France.
Yeah, and that's what's so crazy is we haven't seen Shoxy on the AWP consistently in what feels like forever.
I normally, just as a rule of thumb, don't think 2 AWPs on Cbble is a great idea, especially if you're versing a team who can do a lot of executes and take bomb site control, because it's very hard to retake. So I thought it was an interesting choice. And one last thing, I think I just want to talk about the importance of the B explosions. We saw both teams being able to use Tech Knights and rifles. When you're low on utility, you can use 1 flash, maybe 1 smoke, and explode onto that B site, do a little U-turn jump from the broken wall and push up along that laneway and take some really advantageous duels.
And indeed, we saw it working for both sides of that battle on Cbble. That does conclude, though. We do see the Swedes take the first in the series. We have a second on the cards. In this one, perhaps there will be some light at the end of the tunnel for the French. It's Train coming up straight after the break.
Toot toot.